In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. Alif, Lam, Mim.
See Surah Al-Qasas, Ayah 88 for the Tafsir.
Do the people think that they will be left to say, "We believe," and they will not be tried?
Commentary. And will not be put to test. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 2. It is derived from fitna, which means trial or test. The believers, especially the prophets and pious, have to go through many trials in this world. However, they always come out victors in the end. These trials and tribulations sometimes come as a result of enmity of the infidels and sinners by way of afflictions, as have been experienced by the Holy Prophet and many other prophets, and at times in the form of diseases, as was experienced by Sayyidina Ayub. And for others, many of these trial types are combined together. Although the background under which this verse was revealed, according to many narrations, was the harassment faced by the companions of the Holy Quran from the infidels at the time of Hira, but otherwise its message is common to all times. The sense is that the pious, saints and scholars will face the trials and tribulations in all times. But
we have certainly tried those before them, and Allah will surely make evident those who are truthful, and He will surely make evident the liars.
So Allah will surely know the ones who are truthful. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 3. It means that through tests and hardships, the good and the bad, and the sincere and non-sincere will be differentiated, because if the hypocrites are mixed up with the sincere believers and are not identified, it may create a number of problems. The object of this verse is to elucidate the difference between the good and the bad, and between the sincere and the non-sincere. The expression used for this purpose is that Allah Ta'ala will find out who are the true ones and who are the liars. Since He knows about everyone even before his birth, whether he is a true one or a liar, the sense carried by this expression is that tests and trials are conducted to bring the distinction of good and bad on surface, so that others should also know. Hakamullah Mathanawi, may Allah have mercy on him, has copied the argument of a Shaykh, Maulana Muhammad Yaqub, may Allah have mercy on him, that sometimes people are addressed by descending down to their level of intellect. The common man makes distinction between the sincere and the hypocrites by testing him out. Therefore, according to their approach of understanding, Allah Ta'ala has said that, through various means, we would find out who is sincere and who is not, even though He knows everything from the very beginning.
Or do those who do evil deeds think they can outrun us? Evil is what they judge.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 3 for the Tafsir.
Whoever should hope for the meeting with Allah, indeed, the term decreed by Allah is coming, and He is the hearing, the knowing.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 3 for the Tafsir.
And whoever strives only strives for the benefit of himself. Indeed, Allah is free from need of the worlds.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 3 for the Tafsir.
And those who believe and do righteous deeds, we will surely remove from them their misdeeds, and will surely reward them according to the best of what they used to do.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 3 for the Tafsir.
And we have enjoined upon man goodness to parents. But if they endeavor to make you associate with me that of which you have no knowledge, do not obey them. To me is your return, and I will inform you about what you used to do.
Commentary. And we have instructed men. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 8. Wasiya means to call someone for some action when the call is based on advice and well-wishing. Majari, to do good to his parents. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 8. The word Hasan is an infinitive which means to be good. And is meant here is to adopt good behavior. The meaning of the sentence is quite clear, that Allah Ta'ala has advised man to treat his parents kindly. And if they insist upon you that you should ascribe partners to me. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 8. It should be taken note of that the limit of kind treatment with parents should not go beyond the point where it comes in conflict with the injunctions of Allah Ta'ala. If they force toward infidelity or associating someone with Allah, then they must not be obeyed, as advised in a hadith. A created being must not be obeyed in disobedience of the Creator. This hadith has been reported by Imam Ahmad and Hakim, who has held it as Sahih. This verse was revealed in connection with Ibn Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, may Allah be pleased with him. He was one of the 10 companions to whom the Holy Prophet had given the good news of being in paradise, and who are called Al-Ashra al-Mubashara. He was an extremely obedient son of his mother, and was always alert to look after her comfort. When his mother, Hannah Hint Abi Sufyan, learned that her son, Saad, had accepted Islam, she got very upset and warned him against that, and then swore an oath that she would neither eat nor drink unless he turned back to his ancestral religion, or she would die of thirst and hunger, and he would be blamed universally for being the killer of his mother. Muslim Tirmidhi, through this Quranic verse, Ibn Sa'd, may Allah be pleased with him, was commanded not to listen to his mother. Baghawi is reported in his narration that the mother of Sayyidina Sa'd, may Allah be pleased with him, did not eat and drink for a day and night, and according to some other versions, for 3 days and 3 nights, and sticking to her oath, remained hungry and thirsty. For Sayyidina Sa'd, may Allah be pleased with him, mother's love and obedience was one thing, but Allah's command was another, which naturally took precedence over everything else. So he went to her and said to her firmly, "Dear mother, if there were 100 spirits in your body, and they were departing one by one, I would not have deserted my religion even seeing that scenario. It is now up to you whether you eat and drink or die. In any case, I cannot abandon my religion." Having been disappointed by his firmness, she started eating food.
And those who believe and do righteous deeds, we will surely admit them among the righteous into paradise.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 8 for the Tafsir.
And of the people are some who say, "We believe in Allah," but when one of them is harmed for the cause of Allah, they consider the trial of the people as if it were the punishment of Allah. But if victory comes from your Lord, they say, "Indeed, we were with you." Is not Allah most knowing of what is within the breasts of all creatures?
It means that such people join the infidels when they apprehend some kind of torture from them, but when Allah's help will come to the Muslims in a battle against the infidels, they will pretend to be Muslims on the plea that they had joined the infidels only because they feared to be persecuted by them. The sense is that they did not believe in Islam with their hearts, and this fact cannot be concealed from him, because he knows whatever lies in the hearts of the people.
And Allah will surely make evident those who believe, and He will surely make evident the hypocrites.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 10 for the Tafsir.
And those who disbelieve say to those who believe, "Follow our way, and we will carry your sins." But they will not carry anything of their sins. Indeed, they are liars.
Commentary. And those who disbelieve say, Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 12, the infidels had tried all sorts of devices to mislead the Muslims and to hinder the progress of their faith. Sometimes they tried to get hold of Muslims by show of power and wealth, and at others by trying to put doubts in their minds. This verse mentions one such move made by them. They asked Muslims not to leave their ancestral religion in fear of torments in the hereafter, because no such thing was going to happen at the first place. But even the belief of the Muslims about the hereafter would come true. They, the infidels, were willing to undertake that they themselves would bear all the torments in the hereafter on behalf of the Muslims, and the Muslims would not suffer at all. A similar incident is related in the last ruku of Surah An-Najm. Have you seen the one who turned his back and gave a little, then stopped? Surah An-Najm, Ayah 33-34. Once some infidels hoodwinked a naive friend of theirs by saying that if he gave them some money here in this world, they would save him in the hereafter by taking upon themselves his share of the torment. He in fact started paying them the amount, but later stopped it. His foolishness and the absurdity of his action are related in detail in Surah An-Najm. A similar sort of offer made by the infidels to the Muslims is related here. In response to this offer, Allah Ta'ala has said that those who say so are liars. They would not take upon them the burden of anyone else, and they are not able to bear the burden of their sins in the least. Indeed, they are pure liars. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 12. It means that when they will see the severity of torment in the hereafter, they would not dare to take upon themselves the share of anyone else. Hence their promise is false. It is also commented in Surah An-Najm that even if they were ready to take upon them the torment of others, Allah Ta'ala will not allow it, because it is against the code of justice that someone else is made to undergo the punishment for the crime committed by another person. The other point made by the Quran here is that although they will not be able to relieve others by taking on themselves the recompense for the sins others have committed, But this much is true, that their effort to misguide others and to drift them away from the righteous path is by itself a big sin, which will be loaded upon them, in addition to their own sins. This way they will be carrying their own sins as well as that of misguiding others. Invitation to sin is also a sin, the punishment of which is the same as that of committing it. It comes out quite clearly from this verse that the one who invites others to sin, or helps others in committing it, is as much a criminal as the one who actually commits it. A hadith quoted by Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, and Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, relates that once the Holy Prophet said anyone inviting people toward righteousness would be entitled to the collective blessings of all those who would act on his advice, without any reduction from the share of their reward, and anyone inviting people toward sin will also suffer the collective punishment of all those who would act upon his invitation to sin, without any reduction from the punishment of those who have committed that sin. Muslim Ibn Majah, quote 2 by.
But they will surely carry their own burdens, and other burdens along with their burdens, and they will surely be questioned on the day of resurrection about what they used to invent.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 12 for the Tafsir.
And we certainly sent Noah to his people, and he remained among them 1,000 years minus 50 years, and the flood seized them while they were wrongdoers.
Commentary. It was described in the previous verses that infidels keep on their opposition and afflictions on Muslims as a routine. In the above verses, the Holy Prophet was consoled by relating some incidents of earlier people that this practice of harassment of believers by the infidels is going on for long. But they never lost hope due to such harassments. Therefore, you too should not care about the troubles afflicted by the infidels, and should keep on performing firmly your prophetic obligations. Among the earlier prophets, the story of Sayyidina Nuh was related first. It was so because he was the very first prophet who had to confront with the infidelity and association of others with Allah Ta'ala. Secondly, any other prophet did not experience the extent of harassment he had to put up with from his own people. It was because he had the exclusive honor from Allah Ta'ala of having very long life. His lifespan of 950 years, as quoted by the Holy Qur'an, is true without any element of doubt. However, in certain narrations it is mentioned that this relates to the period of his preaching and teaching, and there are additional periods of his life before this and after the deluge. Living such an unusually long life continuously in preaching and teaching, and enduring all sorts of afflictions, including drubbing and strangling throughout this period from the infidels, was a special distinction of Sayyidina Nuh. Despite all these difficulties and tribulations, he did not lose heart ever. The second story is that of Sayyidina Ibrahim, who too passed through many testing trials. First the fire of Namrud, then migration from Syria to a howling deserted place, then slaughtering of the son. All these tribulations tell about the hardships he had gone through. Within the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim, a brief mention is also made of Lut and his people. Then up to the end of the surah, mention is made of some other prophets and their antagonistic people. All these stories were related to keep the spirit of the Holy Prophet high, and to make Muslims steadfast to the religion.
But we saved him and the companions of the ship, and we made it a sign for the worlds.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 14, for the Tafsir.
And we sent Abraham when he said to his people, "Worship Allah and fear Him. That is best for you, if you should know."
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 14, for the Tafsir.
You only worship, besides Allah, idols, and you produce a falsehood. Indeed, those you worship besides Allah do not possess for you the power of provision. So seek from Allah provision and worship Him and be grateful to Him. To Him you will be returned.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 14, for the Tafsir.
And if you people deny the message, already nations before you have denied, and there is not upon the messenger except the duty of clear notification.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 14, for the Tafsir.
Have they not considered how Allah begins creation and then repeats it? Indeed, that for Allah is easy.
Commentary. The infidels of Makkah believed that it is Allah who has created the whole universe, but they deemed it impossible that the people will be resurrected after they once die. The present verses have described the fallacy of their view. It is stated that repeating the process of creation is much easier than its origination. It is strange that these infidels do believe that Allah has originated the creation, that they deny His power to do it again, while the latter is easier than the former. Then verse Surah Al-Ankabut, ayat 20 has induced them to look around them to appreciate the splendors of the creation, so that they may apprehend that the one who has originated this marvelous creation can easily repeat the process. After establishing the resurrection, the last 3 verses describe the punishment for those who deny it.
Say, O Muhammad, travel through the land and observe how He began creation. Then Allah will produce the final creation. Indeed, Allah, over all things, is competent.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 19 for the Tafsir.
He punishes whom He wills and has mercy upon whom He wills, and to Him you will be returned.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 19 for the Tafsir.
And you will not cause failure to Allah upon the earth or in the heaven, and you have not other than Allah any protector or any helper.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 19 for the Tafsir.
And the ones who disbelieve in the signs of Allah and the meeting with Him, those have despaired of my mercy, and they will have a painful punishment.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 19 for the Tafsir.
And the answer of Abraham's people was not but that they said, "Kill him or burn him," but Allah saved him from the fire. Indeed, in that are signs for a people who believe.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 19 for the Tafsir.
And Abraham said, "You have only taken, other than Allah, idols as a bond of affection among you in worldly life. Then on the day of resurrection you will deny one another and curse one another, and your refuge will be the fire, and you will not have any helpers."
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 19 for the Tafsir.
And Lot believed him. Abraham said, "Indeed, I will emigrate to the service of my Lord. Indeed, He is the exalted in might, the wise."
Commentary. So Lot believed in him, and he Ibrahim said, "I am going to leave my homeland towards my Lord." Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 2 say, Lot was the nephew of Say ibn Ibrahim. He was the very first one to accept faith after watching the miracle of Ibrahim in the fire of Namrud. When Say ibn Ibrahim planned to migrate from his hometown, Katha, a township of Kufa, along with his wife Sayyidah Sarah, who was his cousin and had accepted Islam, and Say ibn Lot he said, "That is, I am going to leave my homeland toward my Lord." It meant that he wanted to go to some place where there was no obstacle in worshipping Allah. Ibrahim and Ak and Qatada are of the opinion that this sentence was said by Say ibn Ibrahim.
And we gave to him Isaac and Jacob, and placed in his descendants prophethood and scripture. And we gave him his reward in this world, and indeed he is in the hereafter among the righteous.
Because the next sentence, i.e., and we granted him Ishaq and Yaqub, is pointing certainly towards Say ibn Ibrahim. However, some other commentators are of the view that I am going to leave my homeland was said by Say ibn Lot. But in the present context, the former explanation appears more appropriate. Although Say ibn Lot had accompanied Say ibn Ibrahim during this journey, but being subordinate to him, his separate mention was not called for, like Sayyidah Sarah, who was subordinate to Say ibn Ibrahim, was not mentioned separately. First prophetic migration in world's history. Say ibn Ibrahim was the first prophet who had to migrate from his hometown for the sake of religion. He underwent this migration at the age of years. Qutubai, the reward for some actions is bestowed in this world as well, and gave his reward in the world. Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 27, that is, we rewarded Ibrahim for his sacrifices in the way of Allah and righteous actions in this world also. He is made popular and the Imam among the people of the world. He is respected by all alike, whether Jews, Christians, or idol worshippers. In the hereafter he will be among the Salihin, righteous, of the paradise. It clarifies that although the real reward for good deeds will be awarded in the hereafter, but a small part of it is also given in this world. Some authentic hadith have also described about the award of benefits in this world against good deeds and depraved outcome of the bad deeds. While when a Hakim ulama, may Allah have mercy on him, has put together all such acts in his booklet Juz al-Amal.
And mention Lot, when he said to his people, "Indeed, you commit such immorality as no one has preceded you with from among the worlds."
Commentary. And we say, in Lot when he said to his people, "Indeed you commit the shameful acts." Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28. Here say, Ibn Alat has described 3 vicious sins of his people. 1. Unnatural offense of man with man. 2. Highway robbery against travelers. And 3. Commitment of sin openly before others in their group meetings. There is no specification of the 3rd sin in the Holy Quran. Thus it is deduced that every sin, which is a sin in its own right, if committed openly with indifference, it becomes a double sin, irrespective of the type of sin. At this point, some imams of tafsir, exegesis, have listed all such sins, which these wretched persons used to commit in their meetings. For instance, throwing stones on travelers and making fun of them, as Hani, may Allah be pleased with him, reports it in a hadith. Other commentators have reported that these insolent people were in the habit of committing sins openly before all others. Out of the 3 sins mentioned in this verse, the first one is most disgusting, which was never committed before in the whole world, and even wild beasts abstain from it. The entire Ummah is unanimous on that it is a worse sin than adultery. Ra.
Indeed, you approach men and obstruct the road and commit in your meetings every evil. And the answer of his people was not but that they said, "Bring us the punishment of Allah if you should be of the truthful."
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
He said, "My Lord, support me against the corrupting people."
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
And when our messengers came to Abraham with the good tidings, they said, "Indeed, we will destroy the people of Lot's city. Indeed, its people have been wrongdoers."
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
Abraham said, "Indeed, within it is Lot." They said, "We are more knowing of who is within it. We will surely save him and his family, except his wife. She is to be of those who remain behind."
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
And when our messengers came to Lot, he was distressed for them and felt for them great discomfort. They said, "Fear not, nor grieve. Indeed, we will save you and your family, except your wife. She is to be of those who remain behind."
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
Indeed, we will bring down on the people of this city punishment from the sky because they have been defiantly disobedient.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
And we have certainly left of it a sign as clear evidence for a people who use reason.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
And to Madian we sent their brother Shu'aib, and he said, "O my people, worship Allah and expect the last day, and do not commit abuse on the earth, spreading corruption."
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
But they denied him, so the earthquake seized them, and they became within their home corpses fallen prone.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 28 for the tafsir.
And we destroyed Ad and Thamud, and it has become clear to you from their ruined dwellings. And Satan had made pleasing to them their deeds and averted them from the path, and they were endowed with perception.
Commentary. The stories of the earlier people that are mentioned in these verses briefly have been related in detail in the previous surahs. For instance, the story of Shu'aib and those of Ad and Thamud have been related in Surahs Al-Araf and Hud, and the incidents of Qarun, Haman, and the Pharaoh have just passed in Surah Al-Qasas. They were people of insight. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 38. This word is derived from istibsar, which means sight, and mustabsir is used for observer. The meaning of this sentence is that those who insisted on infidelity and shirk, associating partner with Allah, and got themselves involved in perdition and Allah's wrath were no fools or insane. They were very clever, having insight, but their intelligence and sagacity was confined to mundane considerations. They did not realize that there would be a day of reckoning for all good and bad actions, when there would be complete justice, because the cruel and the oppressors move about in this world without hindrance, but those oppressed and afflicted are compelled to endure injustice. The day this injustice will finish and justice will be the order of the day is called the hereafter. They are at a loss to comprehend this bit. The same subject is coming ahead in Surah Ar-Rum, where it is said, they know what is superficial of the worldly life, but of the hereafter they are negligent. Surah Ar-Rum, Ayah 7. Some commentators have interpreted the meaning of, they were people of insight, that these people did have faith in their heart, and did understand well the necessity of the day of judgment, but the mundane considerations had compelled them to reject it.
And we destroyed Qarun, and Pharaoh, and Haman. And Moses had already come to them with clear evidences, and they were arrogant in the land, but they were not outrunners of our punishment.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
So each we seized for his sin, and among them were those upon whom we sent a storm of stones, and among them were those who were seized by the blast from the sky, and among them were those whom we caused the earth to swallow, and among them were those whom we drowned. And Allah would not have wronged them, but it was they who were wronging themselves.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 38, for the Tafsir.
The example of those who take allies other than Allah is like that of the spider who takes a home, and indeed, the weakest of homes is the home of the spider, if they only knew.
And surely the weakest of houses is the house of the spider. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 41. Ankabut is the Arabic language equivalent for spider. There are different species of spiders. Some of them live underground. Apparently those are not meant here. Instead, the species of spider meant here is the one which weaves web for itself, and stays suspended in it. It attracts and kills flies in the cobweb. Among all the known types of nests, dens, and other abodes of animals, the spider's web is the weakest. Even a mild breeze can break its threads. This verse has described those who worship and place their trust in anyone other than Allah are like the web of spider, which is extremely weak. The trust of those who depend on idols or any human is as weak and fragile as the trust of a spider on its web. Ruling. Scholars have different viewpoints in the matter of killing of spiders and removing of cobwebs from the houses. Some do not like it, because at the time of Hera the spider weaved its web at the mouth of the cave Thor, and thus made a place of respect for itself. Qadib has reported that Sayyidina Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, had prohibited its killing. But Thaleh, Bai, and Ibn Adiyah have quoted a narration, again from Sayyidina Ali, that says, "Clean your homes from the web of the spider, because its retaining causes poverty." The chain of the narrators of both these reports is not reliable, but the second narration draws credence from other narrations in which keeping of homes clean is stressed. Ra al-Mani.
Indeed, Allah knows whatever thing they call upon other than Him, and He is the exalted in might, the wise.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 41, for the Tafsir.
And these examples we present to the people, but none will understand them except those of knowledge.
And these examples we cite for people, and no one understands them except the knowledgeable ones. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 43. After comparing the weakness of the gods of disbelievers with cobweb, it is stressed that Allah Ta'ala provides such clear examples to elucidate the truth of oneness. But only knowledgeable persons draw benefit from them, and the people at large do not ponder, so that they could also understand the truth. Who is knowledgeable in the sight of Allah? Imam Madhowi has quoted with his own sanad, chain of narrators, a report from Sayyidina Jabir, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Holy Prophet recited this verse and said, "Knowledgeable is the one who ponders over Allah's message and acts in obedience to Him and keeps away from the deeds that annoy Him." This explains that one does not become knowledgeable in the sight of Allah only by developing some understanding of Qur'an and oath. To be on that high pedestal, one needs to give a continual careful thought to Qur'an and then lead a life conforming to Qur'anic teachings. Musnad of Ahmad has reproduced a narration of Sayyidina Amr ibn al-As, may Allah be pleased with him, that he said he had learnt 1,000 amthal, maxims or examples, from the Holy Prophet. After reproducing this narration, Ibn Kathir has observed that it was a great honor for Sayyidina Amr ibn al-As, may Allah be pleased with him, because those who understand the examples, handful, given by Allah Ta'ala and His Messenger are termed by the present verse as knowledgeable. Sayyidina Amr ibn Mur, may Allah be pleased with him, has said that he felt very bad whenever he came across any such verse of the Holy Quran which he could not understand, because Allah has said, and these examples we cite for people, and no one understands them except the knowledgeable. Ibn Kathir.
Allah created the heavens and the earth in truth. Indeed, in that is a sign for the believers.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 43 for the Tafsir.
Recite, O Muhammad, what has been revealed to you of the book, and establish prayer. Indeed, prayer prohibits immorality and wrongdoing, and the remembrance of Allah is greater, and Allah knows that which you do.
Commentary. And recite, O Muhammad, what is revealed to you, Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 45. In the previous verses, some incidents of a few prophets and their people were related, in which some rebellious infidels were also mentioned, who faced various divine punishments. There were also some words of solace for the Holy Prophet and consolation for the believers, in that how the earlier prophets had endured various types of hardships. There was also persuasion for continuing the work of teaching and preaching, and not to lose heart under any circumstances. A brief but comprehensive formula for the reform of people. In the above verses, the Holy Prophet has advised a brief but comprehensive formula for inviting people towards Allah. If acted upon, this formula opens the avenues leading to practicing religion with all its precept, and the natural hurdles that come in the way in practicing it are removed easily. This elixir formula is made up of two parts. One is the recitation of the Holy Quran, and the other, establishment of prayers. Although the real object here was to make all people adhere to the two basics, but for the sake of persuasion and emphasis, the Holy Prophet was directed first to practice them, because it was much easier for the followers to act upon the teachings of Islam when they saw the Holy Prophet practicing it. Out of the two components of the formula, recitation of Quran is the spirit behind and foundation of everything. The next in order is the establishment of prayers, which has been selected for mentioning here to the exclusion of all other acts and obligations. The wisdom behind placing prayer above all other worships has also been explained, that it keeps one away from shameless and obscene acts. The prayer is supreme among all the worships and obligations in its own right, and is a pillar to the religion. Fasha are all those shameless and obscene acts and utterances that are regarded bad and vile in all societies, no matter Islamic or non-Islamic. For instance, adultery, murder, abduction, robbery, lying, etc. Munkar, translated above as evil, is that act or utterance on which there is unanimity of opinion of all religious jurists as being impermissible or haram. Therefore, if there is a difference of opinion by the religious jurists, no one of the two views can be regarded as munkar. The two words, fahashat and munkar, encompass in them all the crimes and sins, both open and concealed, which are mischievous by themselves and a great hurdle in the way of righteous deeds. How does prayer stop from all sins? According to a numerous authentic ahadith, this verse means that there is a peculiar effect of the establishment of salah, prayer, that whoever performs it stops committing sins, provided it is not offered just for the sake of offering. One should offer prayers strictly in accordance with the wordings of Quran. That is for its iqamah, establishment. The meaning of iqamah of salat is to perform it both inwardly and outwardly with the manners and mores the Holy Prophet used to perform. All along his life, he stressed that the body, clothes, and the place of offering prayer should be clean. Offering prayer in congregation, and to perform all actions in line with sunnah, are outward mores of the prayer. As for inward mores, one should stand in prayer with fear of Allah, and humility in a manner that he is begging from him. The one who establishes prayer, Allah Ta'ala graces him with divine help to tread the righteous path, and to keep away from all types of sins. If someone does not get rid of sins despite offering prayers, then there is some flaw in his prayers. It is mentioned in a hadith reported by Sayyidina Imran ibn Husayn, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Holy Prophet was asked about the sense of the verse by, surely Salah restrains from shamelessness and evil. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 45. The Holy Prophet replied, that is, if anyone's prayer did not stop him from his sins, then his prayer is nothing. Sayyidina ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, has reported that the Holy Prophet once said, Ibn Jarir, that is, one who does not obey his prayer is nothing. The obedience of prayer is that one should keep away from sins, Fasha and Munkar. While interpreting this verse, Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, may Allah be pleased with him, has said that if someone's prayer does not make him do the righteous deeds and prevent from sins, then such a prayer would draw him even farther from Allah Ta'ala. Ibn Kathir has reproduced all the three narrations in one place and has concluded that these ahadith are not marfu, which means that these words are not the words spoken by the Holy Prophet, but are the expositions put forward in explaining this verse by the three scholars, namely Imran ibn Husayn, Abdullah ibn Masud, Ibn Abbas, and Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, has reported in a narration that someone came to the Holy Prophet and said, a person offers tahajjud, night prayer, at night, and steals after the daybreak. The Holy Prophet replied, the prayer will soon desist him from stealing. Ibn Kathir, some other narrations have also related that after this remark from him he stopped stealing. Answer to a doubt. Some persons express their doubt that many a people offer prayers regularly and yet indulge in grave sins, which apparently looks in conflict with this verse. Some have replied to this doubt by explaining that Salah forbids those offering prayers from sins, but it is not necessary that all take up the advice in right earnest and stop committing sins. After all, Quran and Hadith also desist everyone from committing sins, yet many do not pay any attention to the advice and do not refrain from sinning. But most commentators had explained that the verse is not in the form of a command, but it is the effect of prayer, which desists those who offer their prayers regularly from committing sins by divine help. But if one is not graced with the divine help to get rid of sins, it means that there is some flaw in his prayers, and he has not been able to fulfill the requirements of Iqamah of Salah. Above referred ahadith also endorse this view. And indeed, remembrance of Allah is the greatest thing, and Allah knows what you do. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 45. Here, remembrance of Allah could mean the remembrance carried out in the prayer or otherwise is supreme. The other meaning of the word could be that when his servants remember him, it is his promise that he too remembers them before angels. Remember me, and I will remember you. Surah Al-Baqarah, Ayah 152. For the servants who worship Allah, it is the biggest blessing. Many companions and the generation that followed them have endorsed this interpretation. Ibn Jarir and Ibn Kathir have also preferred this view. There is also an allusion under this view that the real reason of getting rid of sins through prayers is that Allah Ta'ala also remembers the servant at that time before the angels. Thus its auspiciousness relieves him from his sins.
And do not argue with the people of the Scripture except in a way that is best, except for those who commit injustice among them, and say, we believe in that which has been revealed to us and revealed to you, and our God and your God is one, and we are Muslims in submission to Him.
Commentary. And do not debate with the people of the book, unless it is in the best way, except those from them who commit injustice. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 46. It means that if one has to get involved in a discussion or debate with the people of the book, he should present his arguments in an affable manner. For instance, it is prudent to answer an imputed remark with politeness, the rage with mildness, and the uncivilized tumult with dignified speech. Except those from them who commit injustice. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 46. But those who wronged you in that they stuck to their stubbornness and obstinacy in return to your dignified, gentle speech, they do not deserve this kindness from you. If you give them tit for tat, you are justified, although it is still preferable that they are not replied with rudeness for rudeness and cruelty for their cruelty. Rather, they be treated with courtesy for their rudeness, and with fairness for their unfairness. Some other Quranic verses elaborate this advice. Surah An-Nahl, Ayah 126. That is, you are entitled to take revenge of their injustice in equal manner, but if you opt for patience, it is definitely much better for those who are patient. The advice given in this verse for polite and dignified treatment in the case of a debate with the people of the book is also accorded in Surah An-Nahl with regard to the pagans. At this place, the people of the book are especially identified for the reason given right after this. That is, if they were to ponder, there is a great deal common in the two faiths, which should help them accept Islam. Hence it is said, and say, we believe in what is sent down to us and sent down to you. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 46. It means that the Muslims should tell the people of the book at the time of argument, we have faith in the revelations sent to us through our prophet, and also on those revelations which were sent to you through your prophets. Hence, you have no reason for any hostility against us. Does this verse endorse the authenticity of Torah and Injil in their present form? The manner in which this verse endorses the belief of Muslims in Torah and Injil is their general faith in them, as they were revealed in their original form. It means that whatever Allah Ta'ala had revealed in these books, they had faith in that. It does not mean that they have faith in their altered and distorted form of the text as well. Many of the alterations were made in the books even before the time of the Holy Prophet, and many more were carried out later. This work on amendments has not ceased yet. Muslims have faith only on that part of Torah and Injil that were revealed on, say, Ibn Musa and, say, Ibn Isa respectively. The altered part of the books is excluded from that. Torah and Injil in their present form can neither be believed nor rejected altogether. It is recorded in Sahih al-Bukhari that Sayyidina Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, has reported that the people of the book used to read Torah and Injil in their original language, Hebrew, but for Muslims they would relate only its translation in Arabic. The Holy Prophet instructed the Muslims in this regard, that they should neither believe nor reject what they, Jews and Christians, tell them, and instead simply say, "We believe in what is sent down to us and sent down to you." Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 46. That is, we have symbolic faith in that what was revealed on your prophets, but what you are telling us we do not consider it as authentic. Therefore, we abstain from endorsing or rejecting it.
And thus we have sent down to you the Quran, and those to whom we previously gave the scripture believe in it. And among these people of Makkah are those who believe in it, and none reject our verses except the disbelievers.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 46 for the Tafsir.
And you did not recite before it any scripture, nor did you inscribe one with your right hand. Otherwise the falsifiers would have had cause for doubt.
The status of the narrations of the people of the book quoted by the commentators in their commentaries is also the same. The object of their reproduction in the commentaries is meant to highlight their historical position. They cannot be used for determining what is permitted, halal, and what is not permitted, haram, and you have never been reciting any book before this, nor have you been writing it with your right hand. Had it been so, the people of falsehood would have raised doubts. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 48. That is, before the revelation of the Quran you could neither read nor write. Rather you were unlettered. If it was not so, and you were literate, then there could have been a possibility of doubt for the infidels to put the blame that you were repeating what you had read in the earlier books, Torah and Injil, and it was not a new revelation sent down on you by way of prophethood. It was a great honor and miracle for the Holy Prophet to be unlettered. Allah Ta'ala had demonstrated so many evident and clear miracles to prove the prophethood of the Holy Prophet, and it was one of those miracles that he made him unlettered. Neither he could read anything, nor could he write at all. 40 years of his life were spent in this fashion before the eyes of the people of Mecca. He did not have any acquaintance with the people of the book wherefrom he could have learned anything. In fact, there were no people of the book living in Mecca. Suddenly, at the age of 40 years, such a speech started flowing from his mouth that was a miracle not only in its theme and meaning, but also in the pinnacle of its eloquence. Some scholars have tried to prove that he was unlettered in the beginning, but later Allah Ta'ala taught him how to read and write. In support of their contention, they quote a hadith regarding the incident of Hudaybiyah, which says that when the agreement between the Holy Prophet and the infidels of Mecca was being written, it was started by the Muslims with the words, "For Muhammad, the slave of Allah and his messenger." On this, the disbelievers of Mecca objected that his being the messenger of Allah was the real bone of contention, and if they had accepted him as a messenger of Allah, there would not have been any dispute among them. Therefore, they would not accept the words "and his messenger" along with his name. Sayyidina Ali, may Allah be pleased with him, had written this agreement, so the Holy Prophet asked him to erase it, to which he declined out of respect and reverence for him. Then the Holy Prophet took the paper in his own hand, and after erasing the words his messenger wrote, "For Muhammad, the son of Abdullah." In this narration, the act of writing has been attributed to the Holy Prophet, which led some people to think that he knew how to write. But the correct position is that the act of writing was attributed to him in the narration as a colloquial expression. It is a fairly common idiom spoken quite widely that if someone gets something written by a scribe, the writing is attributed to the former, even though he has not written it himself. The other possibility is that Allah Ta'ala made him write this bit miraculously on this occasion. Also, by writing just a few words, one cannot be called illiterate, but would still remain an unlettered. Furthermore, it would not be an honor for him to be labeled as literate. Rather, the honor is in him being an unlettered.
Rather, the Quran is distinct verses preserved within the breasts of those who have been given knowledge. and none reject our verses except the wrongdoers.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 48 for the tafsir.
But they say, why are not signs sent down to him from his Lord? Say, the signs are only with Allah, and I am only a clear warner.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 48 for the tafsir.
And is it not sufficient for them that we reveal to you the book which is recited to them? Indeed, in that is a mercy and reminder for a people who believe.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 48 for the tafsir.
Say, sufficient is Allah between me and you as a witness. He knows what is in the heavens and earth. And they who have believed in falsehood and disbelieved in Allah, it is those who are the losers.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 48 for the tafsir.
They urge you to hasten the punishment. And if not for the decree of a specified term, punishment would have reached them. But it will surely come to them suddenly while they perceive not.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 48 for the tafsir.
They urge you to hasten the punishment, and indeed, hell will be encompassing of the disbelievers.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 48 for the tafsir.
On the day, the punishment will cover them from above them and from below their feet, and it is said, taste the result of what you used to do.
See Surah Al-Ankabut ayah 48 for the tafsir.
O my servants who have believed, indeed my earth is spacious, so worship only me.
Commentary. From the very beginning of this surah, until now the enmity of the infidels toward Muslims, their rejection of the oneness of God and prophethood of the Holy Prophet and putting hurdles in the way of truth and believers were described. In the above verses, a way out of this entanglement is suggested in order to come out of the turmoil and spread and propagate the truth, and establish justice. The common name for this action is hera, migration. It means to leave the hometown and land where one is forced to speak and act against the truth. Command in connection with hera and removal of doubts encountering in its way. Surely my earth is vast. So, me alone you worshipped. Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 56. Allah Ta'ala has made it clear that his land is very vast, and no one should have the excuse that he could not observe the oneness of Allah, and could not worship him because in a certain city or country, the infidels were in power. It is made clear in these verses that the Muslims should leave the land for the sake of Allah where they are forced to get involved in infidelity and sin, and should try to find out a place for living where they could abide by the commands of Allah Ta'ala, and persuade others also to follow the same. This is what Hijrat is all about. During the course of migration, one is likely to encounter, as a rule, two types of risks, which may hold him back from migration. The first risk is to his life in that the infidels and his adversaries would come in his way, and in order to obstruct his move might take up arms to finish him. In addition, there could be a possibility of his being caught by adversaries on his way out. Hence, there is yet another risk to his life.
Every soul will taste death, then to us will you be returned.
The answer to this problem is given in the next verse. Every person has to taste death. Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 57. That is, no one has any escape from death anywhere in any situation. Therefore, it should not be the trait of a Muslim to be afraid of death, because despite all possible defenses one may arrange for himself, death will overcome him. And it is also part of a believer's faith that death cannot come before the time Allah has determined. Therefore, fear of death should not be an impediment in one's decision about his staying at a certain place or leaving it. If death comes during the course of following a command from Allah Ta'ala, it would bring eternal blessings and comforts, which one will get in the hereafter, as stated in the next two verses.
And those who have believed and done righteous deeds, we will surely assign to them of paradise elevated chambers beneath which rivers flow, wherein they abide eternally. Excellent is the reward of the righteous workers.
And those who believe and do righteous deeds, we shall accommodate them in mansions of the paradise beneath which rivers flow, where they will live forever. Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 58. The other risk involved in hijra, migration, is about the arrangement of sustenance in the strange land. One does manage the sustenance at one's own place through employment, trade, cultivation, or inherited land, but on migration all that is left behind. So, how would he manage the sustenance in the new environment? Answer to this apprehension is given in the next 3 verses by saying that you regard the mundane possessions and arrangements as the cause of your sustenance. But who has given you all this? It is your mistake to consider that you have arranged it all on your own. Without the help and will of Allah, nothing could be procured. If He wills, one gets unlimited sustenance without any visible means, and if He does not, then despite all sorts of visible means, one does not get anything. For elaborating this point, first it is said,
who have been patient and upon their Lord rely.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 58, for the Tafsir.
And how many a creature carries not its own provision? Allah provides for it and for you, and He is the hearing, the knowing.
And how many an animal there is that does not carry its provision? Allah gives provision to it as well as to you. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 60, that is, you should ponder over the fact that there are innumerable animals on earth who do not collect and store their sustenance, nor do they worry about its collection. But Allah Ta'ala provides them their sustenance daily by His grace. This applies to almost all animals except a few. For instance, ants and rats are 2 such animals that store their food. Ants do not come out of their holes in winter, hence store the food during the summer season. Among the birds, crow is the only one that collects food in its nest, but then forgets it. Thus, all the countless animals living on earth are those who neither collect their food for the next day, nor do they have means to do so. It is stated in a hadith that all the birds set off from their nests at dawn in a state of hunger, and return in the evening satiated. They all get their sustenance daily from the bounty of Allah Ta'ala, and the practice goes on throughout their lifetime.
If you ask them, who created the heavens and earth, and subjected the sun and the moon? They would surely say, Allah. Then how are they deluded?
After stating the real source of sustenance for all, that is the bounty of Allah Ta'ala, it is said that if you ask the infidels as to who has created the earth and the skies, or who controls the movement of the sun and the moon, or who brings in the rain, and who makes the vegetation grow, then even they will admit that it is all controlled and done by one entity, that is Allah Ta'ala. In the next sentence, it is advised to ask them as to why do they then worship any other than Allah and regard it as their mentor. From the next verse, and if you ask them as to who has created the heavens and the earth, Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 61, until the end of the ruku, the subject continues. In short, the second impediment in the way of hera is one's worry for sustenance, but that too is based on wrong assumptions. Provision of sustenance is not in the hands of its resources, but it is a direct gift of Allah Ta'ala. It was He who had provided the sustenance in the first place, and it is He who would provide it at the second place. Therefore, the second assumed apprehension should also not come in the way of hera. When does hera become obligatory? The meaning and definition of hera and its blessings and auspiciousness has been detailed in Surah An-Nisa under verses Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 97 to 100. The changes in religious laws in respect of hera were described under verse Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 98 in Maarif-ul-Qur'an on pages no. 552 to 558. One aspect of the subject was omitted there, which is being discussed below. When the Holy Prophet migrated from Makkah under instructions from Allah Ta'ala, and in turn instructed all the Muslims to do the same, provided they had the means, at that time, it was obligatory for all Muslims to migrate. No man or woman was exempt from this rule. The only exemption was given to those who did not have the means to migrate. At that time, migration was not just compulsory, but was also regarded as a sign of being Muslim. One who did not migrate, despite having the means for it, was not considered a Muslim and was treated like an infidel. This point has been elaborated in Surah An-Nisa verse Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 89, unless they migrate in the way of Allah. Surah An-Nisa, Ayah 89. In those days the position of hera was like professing the kalima. As one is accepted in Islam only after recitation of this kalima, that is after testifying that he had accepted Islam as his faith, the same way it was regarded necessary to migrate to be a Muslim if one had the means. Similarly, as those were exempt from recitation of the kalima who could not speak, those were also exempt from migration who did not have the means for it. This is also mentioned in verse Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 98 of Surah An-Nisa, except the oppressed Surah An-Nisa, Ayah 98. As for those who stayed on in Makkah, despite having the means to migrate, they were warned very strongly of Jahannam in verse Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 97 of Surah An-Nisa. those whom the angels take while they had wronged themselves. To them the angels said, "What were you involved in?" They said, "We were oppressed in the earth." They said, "Was not the earth of Allah wide enough that you might have sought refuge in it? As for such, their shelter is Jahannam, and it is an evil place to return." Surah An-Nisa, Ayah 97. After the victory of Makkah, the obligatory command for Hira was withdrawn because Makkah itself turned into a house of Islam. The Holy Prophet issued the following order, that is, after the victory of Makkah there is no need to migrate from there. The divine command to migrate from Makkah and later its withdrawal is established from categorical statements of the Quran and Sunnah. The religious jurists have deduced the following rulings from this incident. Ruling: if someone is not free to hold on to Islam in a city or in a country, and is constrained to act against its teachings or follow the infidel rites, then it becomes obligatory on him to migrate to a place or country where he can follow and practice rites and teachings of Islam, provided he has the means to do so. However, if one does not have the means to travel, or there is no place available to him where he could practice the religious obligations, then he is excused in the religious term. Ruling: if there is freedom of action to follow one's religion in a non-Muslim country, migration from there is still preferable, though not compulsory or obligatory. For undertaking migration, it is not necessary that the country is of non-Muslims. Rather, it becomes obligatory from a country where the commandments of Allah are flouted openly, no matter even if it is called Islamic on the basis of its Muslim rulers. Hafiz ibn Najjar in Fath al-Bari has adopted this ruling, and it is not in conflict with the principles of Hanafiya. A narration quoted in Musnad of Ahmad on the authority of Sayyidina Abu Yahya Mullah Zubair ibn al-Awam also endorses this view. The hadith narrates that the Holy Prophet said, "All cities belong to Allah, and all the people are His servants. Therefore, wherever you find goodness, you live there." Ibn Jarir has reported with his own chain of narrators that Sayyidina Said ibn Jubair, may Allah have mercy on him, had said, "Leave that city where sins and obscenity are common." And the Imam of Tafsir, Adam, may Allah be pleased with him, had said that, "Run away from the city where you are forced to commit sins."
Allah extends provision for whom He wills of His servants and restricts for him. Indeed, Allah is, of all things, knowing.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
And if you ask them, who sends down rain from the sky and gives life thereby to the earth after its lifelessness? They would surely say, Allah. Say, praise to Allah, but most of them do not reason.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 61, for the Tafsir.
And this worldly life is not but diversion and amusement, and indeed the home of the hereafter, that is the eternal life, if only they knew.
Commentary. In the preceding verses it was said about the infidels and disbelievers that if they were asked about the creation of the earth and skies, the solar system, the water cycle and its effect on growth of vegetation, they would reply that all this is created and controlled by Allah Ta'ala. They did not believe that anyone had any involvement in their creation or control, yet in their worship they associate idols with Allah. The reason for this is, most of them do not understand Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 63. At this point the question arises that after all, they were not insane but intelligent and sensible people. They performed many important and skillful jobs. Then how have they lost their balance of mind? The answer to this query is given in the first of the above verses by saying that they are lost in the love of material attractions of the world, which are mortal and would disappear soon. They are totally oblivious of the life hereafter, which would last forever. The life of this world is nothing more than a pastime for amusement and fun, but the real and lasting life is that of hereafter. And this worldly life is nothing but an amusement and play, and the last abode is the real life indeed. Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayah 64. Here the word hayawan is used in the sense of haya, life, qutubai. In this verse, the life of this world is held to be an amusement and play. It means that as amusements are finished and gone after a while and do not have any objective or lasting impact, the mundane attractions are also similar in nature. In the next verse, yet another bad habit of the disbelievers is pointed out. Despite believing that Allah Ta'ala is unique and solitary in His creation, they associate idols with Him ignorantly. Then, it is all the more surprising that whenever they are hit by some calamity, they have the firm belief that none of their idols had the power to take them out of that. They know well that it is only Allah who can remove the calamity, and none of their idols could do anything. To elaborate this point, a paradigm is illustrated in verse Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 65. When they are on a journey in the river and there is a risk of their drowning, they call out only Allah to get rid of it, and not any of their idols. Allah Ta'ala listens to their prayer. As being totally helpless at that moment, they break off temporarily all their contacts with false gods and look upon Him only. So He brings them out of the storm safely. But soon after the wretched people reach the land safely, they forget about His grace in no time and start calling the idols as His associates. This is the meaning of the verse Surah Al-Ankabut, ayat 65. Note: this verse tells us that when an infidel regards himself totally helpless and calls out Allah Ta'ala for help in the belief that no one else can save him from the calamity, at that moment Allah Ta'ala accepts the prayer of even an infidel. It is because at that time he is desperate, a mudtar, and Allah Ta'ala has promised to accept the prayer of a mudtar. Quoted by the declaration in another verse, and the prayer of the disbelievers does not but go astray. Surah Ar-Ra'd, ayah 14, relates to the hereafter, where no entreaty from them will be accepted when they would appeal for mercy against the torment.
And when they board a ship, they supplicate Allah, sincere to Him in religion. But when He delivers them to the land, at once they associate others with Him.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 64 for the Tafsir.
So that they will deny what we have granted them, and they will enjoy themselves. But they are going to know.
See Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 64 for the Tafsir.
Have they not seen that we made Makkah a safe sanctuary, while people are being taken away all around them? Then in falsehood do they believe, and in the favor of Allah they disbelieve?
Did they not see that we have made a peaceful sanctuary haram? In the preceding verses it was described that the deeds and actions of the infidels were foolish and irrational. On the one hand, they accept Allah as the sole creator and master of everything, and on the other they associate their self-chiseled idols with Him. Then it is not that they just believe Him to be the sole creator of everything, but they know well that it is only He who brings them out safely from all types of calamities. But after achieving deliverance, they get involved again in associating their idols with Him. Some disbelievers in Mecca used to put forward the plea that although they accepted Islam as the true faith, but if they were converted to it and followed its tenets, they would be risking their lives against the Arab world, who were deadly against Islam. If they became Muslims, the Arabs would pounce upon them and kill them. In reply to this, Allah Ta'ala said that this was also a bogus excuse because He had accorded such an honor and eminence to Meccans that is not available to any people living anywhere in the world. He had made the entire land of Mecca haram. All Arabs respected haram, whether they were believers or infidels. They all believed that killing was not allowed there. It was not only the killing and fighting that was banned in a haram, but the hunting and cutting of trees too were not permitted. If any stranger entered the haram, his life would be completely secured. Therefore, putting forward the risk of life as justification for non-acceptance of Islam was only a lame excuse.
And who is more unjust than one who invents a lie about Allah or denies the truth when it has come to him? Is there not in hell a sufficient residence for the disbelievers?
See Surah Al-Ankabut, ayah 67 for the Tafsir.
And those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways. And indeed, Allah is with the doers of good.
And those who strive in our way, we will certainly take them to our paths. The real meaning of jihad is to put in all efforts to remove the hurdles in the way of faith. These hurdles include those that are put up by the infidels, for which fighting is at the top pedestal, and also those hurdles that are created by one's own self and by Shaitan. There is a promise in this verse for both types of jihad, that Allah Ta'ala guides those waging jihad to the righteous way. It means that when there is a confusion between evil and virtue, truth and false, and profit or loss, and a wise person wonders which way to adopt, on such occasions Allah Ta'ala guides those striving in His way to the path which is straight, righteous, and without risk. In other words, He turns their hearts toward a way that may bring the divine blessing and the best results. Knowledge improves if it is acted upon. Sayyidina Abu at-Darda, may Allah be pleased with him, while interpreting this verse has said that the people who strive for acting in accordance with their knowledge are promised by Allah Ta'ala in this verse that He will disclose to them some other areas of knowledge that they did not have before. Fudayl ibn Iyad, may Allah have mercy on him, has given yet another interpretation to this verse, that is, those who strive for knowledge, we make it easy for them to act. Mashari.